Okay, good evening. At about 3:30, 3:35 this afternoon, officers with Albuquerque Police Department were continuing our attack plan for the holidays for our Sticky Fingers retail theft impact operations at the Kohls nearby here at Ellison. Officers were advised by the loss prevention staff of Kohls that they were watching a male and a female suspect inside stealing merchandise, and ultimately the amount that they were stealing reached a felony level of theft. So Kohls and APD were coordinating their response. The two suspects, the male and the female, exited through a fire door at the side of the business. APD officers made contact with them. The female was taken into custody there at Kohls, and the male fled, and a foot pursuit ensued between APD officers and the male suspect. That foot pursuit continued from Kohls to the Barnes & Noble bookstore nearby. At that point, an officer challenged the male suspect to surrender. At that time, the male suspect produced a handgun and did not yield to the officer's commands. The male suspect then fled into the Cold Stone Creamery that had customers inside. Officers began to try to evacuate people out of the Cold Stone Creamery for their safety. And then the male suspect was located at the back through the exit door of the Cold Stone Creamery, and the foot pursuit continued across Alameda to a medical plaza behind me here. Officers made contact with the male suspect there, attempted to get him to surrender and yield to arrest. He refused to do that, and shots were fired here, and the male suspect was struck and is deceased. This goes to show that the Sticky Fingers, the retail theft operations that we're undergoing, do carry great risk to the officers and to the public. This gentleman was in the store stealing merchandise, armed with a weapon, and was more than willing to produce that weapon when challenged by the police, and ultimately when the shooting occurred, also had the weapon. So it just reinforces the dangers the Albuquerque police officers are facing as they try to impact retail theft, which we know is a real challenge here in the city. The investigation is clearly ongoing. The crime scene will be being worked the rest of the evening, so there'll be more information coming at our normal briefing in the future.
Do we know around what age?
I believe our male suspect is in his mid-30s. It also bears noting that he has an extensive criminal history. We're still digging into that. It's pretty extensive to verify all of his criminal past, but as we know it now, it is extensive.
Did he point or fire the gun at officers before officers shot at him?
That is still part of the ongoing investigation. I can tell you he produced the firearm when challenged by an officer in the Barnes & Noble parking lot, and then continued to have that gun produced in his hands as the rest of the foot pursuit unfolded through Cold Stone Creamery, across the street, until where we made contact with him in the medical plaza behind me.
And the gun was recovered?
There is a firearm on scene. That's part of the processing, but yes, I can't tell you the details about that weapon, but there is a weapon on the scene.
And at the Cold Stone, did he kind of just run through, or was there like a confrontation like inside the Cold Stone?
It's my understanding initially, and we still have to do a lot more interviewing, but that he ran through the store into the back of the store. Officers stopped briefly to try to remove any patrons inside, just so there wouldn't be a hostage situation inside the store. And then officers located him as he exited through the back door of the business. Not 100% what took place inside the store. So he ran through, a little bit of unknown to us, and then he exited through the rear of the business.
And how many officers fired their weapons?
That's still a part of the investigation, but we believe one officer fired a weapon, and then also a 40 millimeter less lethal munition was also fired.
Before the shooting?
That's part of the investigation, but we do know that 40 millimeter was deployed, as well as deadly force with the shot being fired.
Did the suspect die at the scene, or was he taken to the hospital?
He was obviously medical personnel responded. Officers did render aid to him prior to their arrival, and he was pronounced deceased on the scene by medical personnel.
Did he have any merchandise with him from Kohls when you were with this copy?
Yes, it's my understanding that merchandise was left at the scene with the female when she was taken into custody, and I believe the male just abandoned it there at the scene prior to beginning his foot pursuit.
Any said the female surrendered right away. She didn't produce. She was not a part of the chase at all.
She was, as I understand it, she was taken into custody outside the fire exit there at Kohls when officers challenged her.
Will this have any effect on the holiday tack plan? Will it, like, I mean, is there any kind of considerations about like changes to the way it's being done or anything?
No, I mean, obviously we're dealing with people that carry weapons, but we're not going to be deterred from trying to have a significant impact on retail thefts, especially during the holiday season. It obviously causes officers pause, and when they're thinking about the suspects that they're dealing with, it's very likely to have a weapon. But no, we're going to continue with full force to have that positive impact. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.